It's another beautiful day in the Ozarks, and we'll be back right after this. We're back. I didn't get quite through all my sharing.
Good morning, Beth.
I got a little, hey, Beth.
Beth was on Johnny on the spot this morning.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Oh, my.
We okay?
I'm tired.
Well, what's going on? Why are you tired?
I don't know.
I had, I feel oddly alive and awake.
That's good.
Because last week I was MIA. I was the ragweed did me in,
that's
and
right. I forgot you were having the.
it was not good.
The allergies.
It was I felt like I'd
Gotcha.
been run over. So I had one of those weekends where I just didn't get a lot of sleep. So I'm thinking Sunday night into Monday, I ought to just sleep
Crash
really
out,
well because
yeah.
Monday's my day off. But I decided to go bow hunting, opening day of bow hunting season here in Missouri. And so I had pictures on my trail camera that had me excited. And so
I can see
I
it.
didn't sleep. And so I get up at 4 a.m. and my alarm was supposed to go off at 4:30, but I just got up at 4, gave up,
gross,
kind of one of
yeah.
those. And I got up, I made my breakfast, I brewed my coffee, and like an idiot, I did that first and then looked at the weather, and the wind had changed. And so the spot I wanted to be in,
Oh, no.
you can't hunt in that wind. And so otherwise I would have spooked this big deer that I was pursuing.
Oh,
so
no.
I put my oatmeal, my mush, as my daughter calls it, in the fridge and put the coffee in the thermos and went back to sleep.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're like, never mind. I'm done.
Yeah, I slept from 4:30 to 8:30 like a champ.
Heck yeah.
You missed a super fun show last week.
It was fun.
Yeah, so how was that? Well, I didn't get to see it either. So was it good?
Chef was
great.
awesome.
Chef was awesome?
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Did he cook anything? Was it
No.
one of those like
No.
Good Morning America deals where you guys get to sample?
No, but we did take a look at that corner over there, and
Yeah.
we could make a little kitchen set over there.
Be all right, yeah.
We're talking. We'd love to do that.
Spread the knowledge.
Well, anyways.
Very, very insightful, interesting.
So I'm awake. You're not awake.
Not awake.
I'm somewhere in between. I
Feeling
would say.
it's feeling. I'm gonna be honest. It just feels a little melancholy in the
does. It
room.
feels
I
a
walked
little
in
down.
smiling, and
I don't know. It's a heavy world.
it's been a heavy week,
It
right?
is.
It's a heavy
Should
world.
we just jump into
I
that?
think we
and
have to.
be
I think
open?
we have to talk about. I don't even know what to say.
It's 6
You guys-
days later, right? But it doesn't feel any less heavy.
No, that's.
If
I
anything,
think we're-
more.
Yeah, I don't even. I literally don't know what to say. I don't know.
I think this is different. I will say that than anything I think that we have lived through before. I remember Reagan getting shot, but he survived.
Right.
You know, I think that they're probably right when they say that the assassination of Charlie Kirk is probably a historical event on the level of Martin Luther King, those type of
Yep.
assassinations.
And I think there's people that would just freak out. No, you're wrong when you say something like that, but they're wrong. I mean,
there'll be those that are offended by that, and I shared with.
But no, I'm right there with you. I
Yeah.
believe that too. Yeah.
Well, I shared with my congregation just the sadness that I have sensed because of the outrage, in the foolishness of, well, good, he got what was coming to him, karma caught up with him, hope it's Trump next. hope it's
What vile.
just that
Filth.
stuff is disgusting.
Yeah.
And even somebody, I hesitate to call them friend, but an acquaintance, a Facebook friend who said something like, if any of you are mourning this, but you didn't mourn XYZ, then you can go whatever to yourself and unfriend me. And I said to my congregation, I want to be intellectually honest and take that question seriously. Why is this one different?
It's a good question to ask yourself.
It is.
Yeah,
it is. And so I spent some time meditating on that and thinking about it. And really what I came to, it's not that his life is more valuable than any of these children that are needlessly murdered as a random act of violence. And it's not that his life is more important than Irina, who was stabbed to death on a train.
Yeah.
When I come down to it, why this one hits differently is because it could have been me. Mm-hmm. And I think it could be you.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I don't have millions of viewers. I mean, the Waffle's close.
We're close.
Hundreds of thousands.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I don't have my hundreds of thousands, but I do have my hundreds.
Yeah.
And at times I have my thousands. The Lord's given me a bigger platform at times.
Yeah.
But I have never shied away from saying things that need to be said. I will have hard conversations, not daily, not on college campuses, not in the vein that he did. But I have said controversial things. I've stood in the pulpit and said, God defines marriage as a husband and a wife and for a lifetime. And I have received hate mail from the gay and lesbian community for that. And not just a little, a lot. I've received hate mail. You wouldn't believe how much hate mail I've received through the years for things I've said on Facebook or in a sermon or in a blog post. So all it takes, though, it doesn't matter how big your following is. All it takes is one deranged person.
One unhinged person.
Who hates you for what you said to end your life or to try to end your life. And so for me, that was my conclusion. This one hits different because it felt like it could have been me.
I got a little bit of a different twist on that. You can send all the hate mail you want. I mean, that's fine.
Sure, I don't mind that.
That's fine.
But my point is, what if one of those took it to that level?
But the reason I think this hits different than those other tragedies is the why.
Correct.
The why he was assassinated is categorically different than any of those other murders, because he was assassinated because of ideas and because he was articulate in expressing his ideas to the extent that basically he was kind of irrefutable. The arguments couldn't be won against him because he was such an effective communicator. And that discourse, public discourse, is the foundation of our republic.
Yes.
And when it is attacked, it is an attack on the very foundations of what make this country work.
Yeah.
See, politics, democracy, to the extent that we are a democracy,
all
it is at its core is we have decided as a culture, instead of violently resolving our disputes about how our country can be won,
Good point.
we're going to vote instead. The opposite of an
Public gets
electoral...
to say.
We'll debate and vote.
Yeah,
Debate
the opposite
and vote.
of the public discourse and the alternative, I should say, not necessarily the opposite, but the alternative to a public discourse and democratic voting is war. And there was someone that decided they wanted war, and they assassinated Charlie Kirk because of it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it hits at least me a little different, is because that's a scary place to be.
And that's
If
ultimately
we
what I'm
can't
saying is
have a political process to resolve our differences through conversation and voting, war is our only alternative.
We don't want that.
Yeah,
We
and
don't want that.
it now feels as though you are unsafe to be Christian in this country, or you're unsafe to have a differing viewpoint. It used to be safe that our founding fathers would have crazy debates, like red-faced yelling at each other debates, but then would go have a beer at the pub together.
Yeah.
And we need to not forget that. When I say red-faced, I mean they just were passionate.
Yeah, and what's crazy is they didn't really disagree nearly as significantly about the way government should work
Right.
as we do today.
Because at the core, the foundation, they agreed on those principles. They had some slight disagreements on how it should be carried out.
Yeah, I mean, how strong is the federal government going to be versus the states? Some
Right.
minor issues like that. I will say, Chris, though, you talk about feeling safe as a conservative Christian, and now we don't. There's a degree to which we have not felt safe as conservative Christians in this country for decades.
I agree.
And I
This
say
has
that
been a progression that
It's a
led to
progression.
this point.
Yeah.
I think that's why this point is so significant, is it came
Seems
to that.
be a
because it's
yeah.
been a very long time since I have approached the idea of speaking on Christian and political topics in the public arena, that at some level I didn't have a little bit of gut pinch about the fact that I'm going to get blowback, and it's worth the blowback. It's worth it.
Yeah. And I would even say, and it's worth the bullet.
I would agree.
But that's, and not for me, not so much about political things. I do have a bit of an allergy to Christian nationalism, but for Christ,
Sure,
I will take that.
absolutely.
That doesn't mean I won't stand on my political convictions, and I'm not saying that my Christianity doesn't inform my politics.
And it doesn't
but
mean that
that's
if
a
I have the
conversation
chance, I
for
won't
another
shoot
day.
back.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if the
another
if the
conversation.
first bullet misses,
Sure.
there's
yeah.
some coming the other way.
Right. Yes. There's a reason that some of us carry. Right. It's for protection, not to start a war. But
Right.
But yeah, I just I don't know. My heart has been heavy. My heart has been heavy for a long time, but
Yeah.
that it came to this is devastating. And I'm amazed that it could even matter what his religious or political beliefs were, that we've so dehumanized our opponents
Yeah, there you
that
go.
we forget that he was a man and a husband and a father and a boss and a friend and a son and so on. That is what's wrong with our climate, our cultural climate, that we seek to dehumanize people because of their views. I said this also, and I'm just sorry. I've got a lot to
No, you're
say on
good.
this, but
You're totally good.
I told our church as well. Even when Osama bin Laden was captured and assassinated militarily, yes. And I told our church, it's not for today, but there is a discussion around how a Christian can view a just war or a just killing. So lay that aside for now.
Yeah.
As a Christian, I couldn't help but to struggle with the cognitive dissonances. This is a national victory, and at the same time, this person who just lost their life did not believe in the saving grace of Jesus.
Personal tragedy.
And now is dealing with eternal judgment. As a Christian, if that doesn't bother you while you try to celebrate, I don't know that you really understand the grace of Jesus. And so you have to check yourself and go, okay, how in the world could you celebrate somebody's death? You can't. It is a tragedy on some level.
Yeah. You're right. It is. I mean, it is.
We can't say sanctity of life, and talk about abortion if
And be happy
all
when somebody dies.
Yeah. And so that anybody would feel that way is really just mind-blowing.
Charlie
Yeah.
is obviously the direct victim of this, but there are all the ancillary victims too.
Yeah.
The obvious ones: his wife, his children, the people that work with him, his friends, all the people you named. I cannot help but acknowledge the fact that Tyler Robinson is a victim.
Something has happened to him in his life.
parents are victims. They are victims too, because of the core of where this comes from. And this is where I have had the most debates, I would say, since this happened. Is, he was a radicalized person.
Obviously.
He had been radicalized.
He had been radicalized.
And he was
100%.
radicalized by the rhetoric from the left.
Someone got in his ear, or multiple people, and manipulated him into believing something that is wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong what his beliefs were, but the belief that murdering someone is justified is wrong. So something, the ideology manipulated him.
Yeah.
Same thing it did when they ran the planes into the towers. Those guys had been manipulated to
radicalized.
believe
It's
what
the
they
same
were
thing- yeah.
doing. Sorry, I can't. Like I can't.
I feel
this
it
is
too.
so heavy. I cannot get over. I don't even know where to go. It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. But no, it's manipulation, and it's different than what happened to Irina. That was a mentally ill psychopath that should not have been walking the streets.
Yeah.
And I watched that video, and I haven't seen the Charlie video, and I won't unless
yeah.
I accidentally see it, which would really
I look away as
really
quickly as I
tick
can.
me off.
Which was shocking because it rolled through Facebook uncensored.
Yeah.
And you think about all of the
which is
You think about
crazy.
all of the extreme content warnings that you've seen on such innocuous things on Facebook, and for that to roll through with no warning whatsoever was
I had just watched my boys play
Yeah.
a soccer game, and I had made my way back to their apartment. There's 8 college guys in the apartment, and they start reacting. Whoa, oh my! And they tell me the news, but they're telling me the news as they're watching the video. And I said, boys,
don't.
stop watching that.
watching it.
Don't need
watch
that
that.
in your eyesight.
But I don't know. Maybe a lot of people needed to see it. Maybe those people that aren't truly familiar with death,
yeah.
maybe that I don't know. I
Maybe,
know
yeah.
I didn't need to see it.
Does that rehumanize people if we watch stuff like that? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
don't
it
think it
can
did.
and can't. I don't know. But I heard it. I knew who that was, right? But I didn't know that was his name, if that makes sense. I've seen his videos. They show up in my feed. I'd watched it. It always saw the guy's a great debater. It's interesting what he's doing. Most of the time, the
So
people
calm, so gentle.
so calm. And so I'm like, who's Charlie? Charlie Kirk's been shot. Who's Charlie Kirk? And I'm like, oh, it's that guy. Oh my God. And then I see comments. I've seen the video. There's no way he survived.
Yeah.
And I'm like-
it was clear. I did see the video. I did see it from multiple angles. And there's one angle that is not the one that most people saw. That is actually worse because you see the blood.
Yeah.
The video that I saw coming through the most time, you didn't. You saw him fall.
Yeah.
There's another angle that's a much more graphic than that. But no, I don't think that video actually will help people because, frankly,
We're already so desensitized.
what
I
you
don't
can
know.
see on any public television program any given evening, the deaths and the way they are portrayed looked much more violent and more graphic than what that actually was. I mean, this is a really weird thing to say, and there's a lot of ways I can interpret it, but quite frankly, compared to those things, it was almost peaceful.
It's
it
when
wasn't.
people.
I mean,
it's the video with Irina. Is that how you say her name?
yeah.
No, that's violent.
I watched that, and I watched it
Tragic.
because the stills of it I was seeing were not making sense in my head, right? And so we have been desensitized on so many levels.
Yeah, we have.
And so I assumed it could not be a bloody video because it was being shown so openly, right? Because they censor it when it's gory. And you're right. The way movies and shows have depicted gore and violence is vile and disgusting in itself. It's creepy and weird, and I don't understand it. The thing that completely shook me, and it goes back to what you said, it could have been me, about her, is it was a really good reminder. You have got to be aware of
Head on
what's
a
going
swivel.
on around
Yeah.
you. Get the stupid earbuds out of your ear. Pay attention to what's going on around you. And it's not just to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to be there to protect other people. Sometimes you need to be paying attention to be the person that calls 911 when a driver is swerving
'Cause
across the road.
all those people around that young lady, nobody helped.
What?
Well, the one guy that did help somebody on the subway one time,
Got
what
sued.
happened to him?
Got sued.
Oh, got prosecuted.
Yeah.
Was prosecuted.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you cannot walk on this earth in your own bubble.
No. Yeah.
You
better
can't.
be aware.
You better be aware.
Well,
you better remember things can change in an instant. And if something happens around you, there are people who are good at reacting and helping, and then there are people who simply shut down.
Do you know who is good at reacting and helping? Those that have a plan.
Yeah.
Those that have thought through it, have played in their
Yeah.
mind different scenarios, and they're prepared. But those that are caught up in their own world, when it happens, they're not going to have a clue what to do.
They just melt.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally freeze.
Yep.
And I've seen it in lots of different circumstances. And there's people who will run towards the fight, and then there's people who literally
Paralyzed.
just
Right, Beth.
freeze. It happens.
Yeah.
So everybody, this whole thing, like, this is the turning point for me. This is where it changes. I know a whole lot of people who are saying that, who live in the same part of the country and who walk generally the same path. I don't see people in my feed that live in, urban areas who vote for these psychotic liberals. I mean, seriously.
Yep.
I don't know how I don't even understand how you could have
Well,
that thought.
they're just as indoctrinated
Yeah.
as Tyler Robinson.
And-
They
yeah.
just
Yeah.
haven't, they
And
just
that's-
haven't been moved to violence.
That's where the accountability needs to happen, and it needs to happen, as you mentioned, Will, in the voter booth, because for too long we did act fearfully of the rhetoric, and we were quiet, and we thought, I don't want the blowback, and now I think it's time, and I do see it happening. My goodness, the number of Turning Point chapters that are opening on high school and college campuses now.
32,000 new.
It's insane.
Triples.
It's
what we-
insane. So that is a positive sign. I said this. I don't remember when I said it, but when my boys were in high school, and so this is probably 5 or 6 years ago because they're seniors in college, but I had said to somebody, I see signs that this next generation is catching on to the fact that they've been lied to, and it is doing my heart some good to see that my observation was on some level correct. I didn't want it to come to this, but this is another step in that progression where the next couple generations are turning back to some values that we lost.
Well, yes and no. I was listening
think-
to Albert Mohler this
yeah.
morning, and he laid it out pretty well. You can go back and listen to him. The boys are.
Yes,
The
you
boys
are.
are
I've
becoming
seen
very
the
conservative.
statistics. Yes,
Girls,
I don't know
for the
about that.
first time in
no,
the
they-
last 2
I mean, he was
years,
quoting his sources. and
young
statistics.
men are the ones flocking back to the church.
Mm-hmm.
Young women at a higher rate are leaving the church. It used to be young women that were bringing young men to the church. Now it is the young men saying, there are no women who hold these values in my generation. So you are correct. I do stand corrected on that. I was observing the behavior of young men.
Sure. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I've had a lot of 30 and 40-year-old women that, like, people that I don't really encounter every day. Like, people that I'm not friends with, not because I don't know them, I just am not around them much. Like, new people I've met make very conservative comments.
Well, those are millennials.
And
And-
We're
millennial
talking
women
about
are-
the Gen
Yeah,
Z, the
the
18 to
Gen-
29 is
guys,
the demographic
they're
he's
just
talking about.
lost. They're lost.
Well,
I
again,
don't
agreed.
even think, hold on.
Yeah, that's all right.
I don't even think they're political. I think you guys are missing it. I don't even think they're necessarily political. We have a generation of young 20-something women's who have become completely self-absorbed in their own bodies and their own fun.
I don't disagree with that.
No, that's
And I don't
accurate.
think that they're that political and out there voting in masses, right? And they're lost. I see them. I see what they post. I see what they do. They're freaking lost. And they have been told by their mothers, frankly, that there's certain behaviors that of modesty and general things like that have been holding you back.
Get rid of it. Radicalized feminism is what you're talking about.
And really, at its core, it's manipulation by the beauty and cosmetics industry. And I know
They
that
play a
sounds
role in that.
freaking
No,
crazy.
They play a role in that.
You have no idea what the machines are that run those industries. No freaking clue. And our media, our music industry, our and talking country music, rap music, all of it, our beauty industry,
Christian music to that too.
fashion industry, they know that they can manipulate young women into buying all of their crap.
Agreed.
And I'm talking about buying their makeup and their Botox and pumpkin spice lattes and all of that crap.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's a politically driven thing. I think it's a hyper consumerism driven thing. Because at the end of the day, there's a factor out there for recessions. Women will still buy lipstick in a recession. Mm-hmm. They just will.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it always starts culturally.
Yeah.
The cultural change precedes the political change, and I think that's exactly what you're describing, Lauren. Is this cultural change?
And a layer underneath that is Marxism wanted to tear down religion, and therefore culturally we have
yes,
this
and I'm all for the traditional family Christian family unit, but here's what's changed. Mom and dad both have to work now, guys.
Sure.
They just do. There's no, and the knights in shining armor have not shown up and saved us, right? Because they've been told, yeah. Seriously, yeah. Disney has lied to you. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna have to work as a family in some way, shape, or form or another, and that's okay. And if the dad wants to stay home and help raise the kids, that's okay too. These are the problems that the strong women of the world have trouble with when it comes to the Christian perspective of the way it has been preached from the pulpit for a long time. And they go back to these biblical statements that can be looked at one way or another, and it has been skewed in my mind to make it look in ways that women are a weaker entity. But they're not weaker, they're different.
Right.
They're different. And so part of it comes from some toxic Christianity stuff.
Well, yeah.
That I think is getting better.
Yeah. In the Bible, when the women are referred to as the weaker vessel, it's not talking about weaker in worth, value. It's about physical strength.
Yes.
Physical strength.
And no one can argue that there haven't been men in charge of Christianity that have taken advantage of some of these things in the Bible and manipulated them.
Toxic masculinity produces radicalized feminism, and it just builds on itself and eats itself. And now
those powers that be that want to manipulate us.
Biblical masculinity. We need biblical femininity.
Yes.
And we need to get back to what God truly designed in these gender roles. And, I mean, just to get back to two genders would be a great step in the right direction.
Because, I mean, if anything was more black and white, it's that. And somehow we decided to make that like gray.
Yeah. And that is the problem. When you can make black and white things gray and everybody has the pinwheel spinning in their eyes and, drinking the Kool-Aid and accepts that as fact, why should we be surprised when stuff like this happens?
I'm telling you, the manipulation of corporate America, internet, all of that stuff is in the background of every single one of these problems. It just is.
It is.
Sure.
We have been I'm blown away that we have 22-year-olds getting freaking Botox.
Yeah, I can't imagine why you would need it.
And lip filler.
Yeah.
You're 22 years old.
Lip filler.
What the crap? I'm trying not to cuss. What are you doing? What are you doing?
That would be a first on the waffle. We've got almost 5 years and not blown that one.
What are you doing? I mean, and that's what I'm saying, guys. It's an industry. I mean, it's mind numbing.
Yeah. Well, and we all need to push back on it.
We do.
So I think that men are behind the feminist movement.
They are.
I think that men produce that. I mean, I have said before that feminism is a plot by weak men to turn women into mere sex objects. I think that is part of...
Men need to stop only dating women that have been augmented, basically. I mean, there is some trash culture in beauty.
Well,
and again, I look at my two young men.
Need to stop dating. Period.
Yeah, well,
because of what dating means these days.
I don't know if I buy that.
Well, they need to pursue a spouse. They need to pursue a
spouse.
spouse.
Correct. My boys date. They're not courting people.
Yeah.
But they date with a purpose.
I know, but what I'm talking about is what I didn't realize
You can't
because
show
I live
up
in a
and just
different
meet
world.
people and have sex all the time.
Is-
Let's just be
correct.
real
Right.
honest.
Well, but I mean,
Hookup culture
Terrible
needs to
thing
go.
do.
Yeah.
If-
Hookup culture's gross and unhealthy.
I
It
didn't
needs to
realize
stop.
this until probably everybody else already figured it out. But if you're watching TV or whatever and they say we're dating, they mean they're sleeping.
They're
together.
sleeping
Oh,
together.
okay. If that's what you mean.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
If you're
that's
talking about
what he's
hookup
talking-
culture.
No,
yeah.
he's talking. Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
literally, like
I'm an old hillbilly. Sometimes that stuff, you know,
people.
grew up in a little different culture.
It's-
You could
it's-
date, and that wasn't what it
No,
meant.
it's yeah.
They still
hookup
said goodbye
culture
at the
is
door
very-
and went to their own homes in
Yeah.
your mind. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and well, I was even having a conversation with one of the girls about dating the other day, and I was trying to even explain dating, like, and it's
Well, that's why
You
I
have
think,
to.
I think the word now
have
is
to explain.
dangerous because that's the
but
expectation.
guys, my generation wasn't dated. We were not dated. We did not do that. It didn't. It's not the same. It hadn't been the same for like. Oh my God! I mean, dating for me would have been quite a few years ago now.
Well, and
We
it
did
comes,
not date.
Everything comes to Southwest Missouri a little bit later than it, but
Yeah.
it's been that way
For a long time.
on the coasts a long time. That's
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, ugh. And so it's a big old circle of a mess. You know, it's the classic example of powers went overreaching and said things and went too far. And people got upset. And so they started changing their culture. And then everybody figured out how to capitalize on it. And then here came the monsters. And I mean, it's like the same cycle over and over
it
and over
all
again.
has the same root core. Is there
Absolutely.
is an enemy that seeks to kill
Well,
and destroy.
I think about when I was
Yeah.
in youth ministry, and I would every February we called it Sex Month, and I just spent a month talking about dating and relationships and sexuality, and the kids they really responded to it. You know, you
Yeah.
act like, oh, I don't want to hear that from my youth pastor. No, they wanted to hear that because they weren't hearing it at home. You know, and now fast forward 20 years later, people are like, oh, purity culture, it's so toxic, it's so toxic.
How could that possibly be toxic?
Well, because
the guy that wrote the book, I've kissed dating goodbye,
is no longer a Christian.
Is no
you know.
longer.
Yeah, or,
Well, he
or never
obviously
was.
never
right,
was.
Yeah.
right. But bottom line
Calvinist
is
that I
bottom line is purity culture could have been toxic if it was producing a shame culture.
Yes.
The gospel never puts shame on people for their sins and failures.
No,
it
it gave you-
produces grace
Yeah.
and helps you overcome your mistakes. And so it became like, if you've ever made a sexual misstep, oh, well, you're just trash
Well,
and
you're just
worthless and
nasty.
you're
Yeah.
bad forever.
And
so
that was a huge problem.
to that extent, but what's happened, what we tend to do is overcorrect and, oh, well, then we just won't talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what the devil wants, is to silence us and to not push back. And so this goes across any topic. When we get away from God's design for humanity in this world, we are asking for trouble. And when the
Yep.
church becomes silent on social issues, we are in trouble. And so when we're afraid of the blowback and we're afraid it won't be received well and we go silent, we should not be surprised when the world is going to indoctrinate our children and when we become indoctrinated because we're not discerning what is good from what is evil, what is true from what is false.
Well, vacuum will be filled.
Yes,
And
always.
when the church retreats, for whatever reason, that vacuum will be filled. It'll be filled with a worldly worldview and worldly
Yeah.
ideas. And that's where we lose. I mean, we lost it in healthcare because the hospitals used to always be founded by Christians. We lost
It's
it
a nightmare.
particularly in education.
Yep.
Education was founded, advanced by Christian churches. All of your Ivy League schools were founded as seminaries.
Yep.
And somehow we talked ourselves into retreating. And I don't know how.
I tell you,
Wow.
guys, growing up in a small town with lots of churches, I was made more uncomfortable by other Christians
Sure.
than really anybody else as a
Yeah,
kid.
and it's important when you do this, Christians.
Yeah, it
right.
really
Let's
Well, I
make
mean,
sure
these
we're clear
were
on
my
that.
peers
Right.
who had grown up in
Churchgoers
churches.
and Christians are Christ followers and churchgoers are oftentimes two
Well,
different
but
things.
these were, and there was some real toxic stuff that happened in American Christianity in a pretty solid chunk of time.
Well,
And if this-
no, it continues to today.
still going
it
on.
does
Still going
continue.
on.
It just was pretty
a new veneer.
widespread.
But
It
that's
was pretty
the,
widespread.
and that's,
well, I guess maybe
that's
not.
the
It
problem.
probably is continuing
That's the
today.
danger with a Christian society, is the cultural Christianity where you become a Christian, you attend church because it is the culturally appropriate thing to do. And then you wind up with churches and pews filled with people that really don't understand the gospel, really don't have any affinity for
They're
the
just
gospel.
there because it makes them feel good.
Really don't care about the gospel, and yet their bad behavior, because they can't help it, because they don't have a Holy Spirit to say don't do that, commit heinous acts, wrong things, say stupid things.
Yeah. And poorly represent Christ in the
mean,
church.
it's-
And they weren't ever Christians anyway.
The classic reason why you don't ever hear me quote the Bible, I do not remember quotations correctly. I can't quote a movie. I would study for tests.
That's because you're not a guy.
I know.
If there's a movie,
I know.
we can
I'm
quote
off doing
it.
something else. I would study for tests hard and then drop all the information the moment I took the test. It's why you don't ever hear me quote the Bible. I can't do that. Like, it literally is not how my brain works.
I usually will say it's the will translation so that people can go back
with the will
and go
filter.
back to like an ESV.
With
make
the
sure
Wilter.
I got it right. Yeah.
By paraphrase, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of times I talk on things intensely, and it makes it sound like I don't, you know, it's like I'm dogging on capitalism. Capitalism is still the best way. I'm not a freaking socialist. It's more of a socialism I know is bad. Capitalism I'm frustrated with,
Well, just
because they should know better.
Well,
Just
Marxism
because
has
it's
made
not-
its way into our capitalist society.
Just because
Yeah.
it's not the government doesn't mean it's not socialist. Our corporate
Yeah.
structure is wildly socialist in this country.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you can't say what's inappropriate where people make the wrong connection and say, well, it's a corporation, therefore it's a capitalist problem.
No.
That's not true. You can have an entire socialist, communist country filled with corporations.
The NFL
But it still behaves-
The NFL is socialist.
Preach.
And then now can I talk about English soccer?
Yeah, sure.
You get relegated if you don't win. There's no supplementation where you just keep making billions, even if you're bottom of the
Yeah.
standings every year. You get relegated to a lower league that gets a lower payout, and then you can pay your players less.
Wait a
and when
minute.
you pay them less, then you get relegated again to a third tier.
Are you saying you're held accountable?
You're held accountable. You don't get
Weird.
government buyouts.
And I don't know
Holding
exactly
people
where this has all
accountable
gone
is
to, but I know like in
important.
MLB, American League, in baseball, they talk about profit sharing,
Yeah.
where all of the teams have to
Yeah.
kick up and then they redistribute the wealth.
It's just ironic
It's not
that in
okay.
Europe you have all these socialist nations that actually have a capitalist.
Because they love
Sports
soccer
league.
and they want the best for it.
I will-
Isn't it crazy? Like we go the other
I
way.
love soccer.
Yeah, it's just
My thought though,
Mind-blowing.
Europe does community better than the United States in some ways.
In
Not
some
all
ways, yeah.
European countries. But there is a little bit of a difference of and a lot of it is just landmass.
yeah.
When
You're on
kinda-
top of each other.
You're on top of each other.
Well-
and you can't cheese off all your neighbors and then go to your compound on 10 acres and not see them for a while.
120 acres.
Yeah. So
I was going to say, Will, do you feel targeted?
So that's
Okay.
part of it too. There is a little bit more of a sense of community in ways when you're on top of each other if you have good values.
Well, and there's one other significant distinguishing factor from Europe, from the United States that contributes to that, which is until recently, German was German. There's a lot of Germans in Germany. You know, in France, they're
all in
predominantly
Argentina.
French, a good chunk. You know, in Spain, they're predominantly Spaniards, and there is a greater ability. It's natural. If it's your tribe, it's easier to be in community. And we opted in the United States, and I think rightly, and I think it can be
Yes.
our strength that says, no, we're not going to be. You know, I actually had to do some research. A nation is a people, a country or a state is a political organization. And so when you have Germany, you have the nation that is Germans in the country that is Germany. We don't have that in the United
we
States.
default are a melting pot.
We are a multinational country or state, if you
Yes.
prefer it like that.
Yeah,
we have
that's the
50
right way to say
states
it.
that make up a bigger state, but it is a multinational political unit which presents opportunities for great strength
and terrible challenges.
and some significant challenges when when those different nations will not come together and cooperate around a common goal.
And that's my
we
fear.
have a common goal. It was written in our Declaration of Independence,
talking about the
and it was
preamble?
written in the preamble of our Constitution. And we have right now far too many nations within our country that really don't subscribe to that preamble of the Constitution, that this is what it's all
They
about.
As
are
I've said for a while,
subscribing to a it feels good right now, so I'm going to do it, which is not Christianity
Yeah.
and is not the foundation of America.
We are in a very different way engaged in the Civil War.
Yes,
We don't-
absolutely.
We don't have anybody carrying muskets and wheeling cannons around, but don't be fooled. We are in a civil war. And,
Yep.
and on that note, I just want to say to the Christians, and I'll say this if you're not a Christian but you are a conservative,
Follow
don't
Charlie Kirk, because that's how he started.
right. Well,
Yeah.
don't. That's what I say. Don't fight back the same way.
Indeed.
The irony that I'm seeing is, I shared a post yesterday, and it was this woman very smugly with her cup of coffee saying, "My church did not bring up the Charlie
I
Kirk
saw that.
thing,
How gross.
and we're finding another church." The irony of that is Charlie Kirk was demonstrating to us how to have the hard conversation. That she would post that 2 hours after leaving church. I know she didn't pray about it, and she didn't go and talk to her pastor about it. Go have the hard conversation. I get your frustration. But did you ever think that maybe he had prepared a sermon and they had planned the worship service? And listen, I pivoted
Well, I think
because I knew people were showing up wanting to hear some perspective from God's word. And so I did take the opportunity to speak into it.
yeah.
good for you.
But be kind to those that didn't, and don't trust that they don't care.
Don't trust it was in some sort of malicious, ulterior motive
Yeah, or
way.
even that they were aloof. They were focused on the gospel, I hope. And so
I mean, you just you don't know until you ask.
just remember the point of being a part of a faith community and go have the hard conversation. Like, Pastor, I'm bothered
problem.
that you didn't bring this
It's
up.
the
Can
same
we talk about
thing.
why?
It's
You know?
seconds. People are making decisions
Yes.
for seconds of life versus eternity.
And my point is, Charlie Kirk taught us how to press into difficult conversations. So don't fight their way. Don't retaliate and take up their tactics.
Yeah.
Be like
Will
Charlie
you-
Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, he was a good example to us. The man was
was.
filled with gentleness and self-control. When I watch his videos, and I'm not his greatest fan. I've not read one of his books.
Yeah, I didn't.
But
yeah.
the snippets I've seen was a man who, no matter what was said about him or to him, he maintained his composure, and he had a sense of love about him in holding firm to the truth.
Especially people that disagreed with him.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
be like that.
Yeah.
Be like that.
Yeah.
All right, we'll land on that one. Not very funny today,
Amen.
but good show. I enjoyed
Good
it.
show.
So we'll be back.
We
next
waffled.
week. We waffled. We'll be back next week.
Bye,
Thanks for
guys.
watching.